All right, you know who this lad is. This is Bowks Talking Bouts in PFL Chicago. Very close. April 11th is when that transpires, and great having Sergio Pettis on ahead of his headlining fight against Mitch McKee. How you doing, Sergio?
Doing well, brother. Just finishing up the last couple of days of preparation, getting his last couple pounds off me, and I'm ready to go out there and perform. I'm very excited.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like, what are your thoughts on how, I guess, everything shook out here? I mean, you have a certain familiarity fighting in Chicago, being like a local area favorite in a certain regard, etc. Just, I guess, how did this fight come about too? Because I think some people thought maybe you'd be in like a title fight scenario potentially. Just, can you kind of give me the timeline piece leading into this one here?
Yeah, man, this was just an interesting matchup in general. They gave Mitch McKee a big opportunity to come and take a big fight against a veteran like myself, for his first fight on the big stage. Um, Things kind of played out. I just got that Magomed finish. Things were looking like I was going to get a title shot, but I guess the tournament winner was hurt at the time. So for the time frame, it was like didn't match up, and they wanted me to get a fight here in Chicago rolling. So I was like, sure, I'm down for that. And Mitch McKee was the name that they brought up. Man, I'm not going to say no to any fight. I've never said no to anybody throughout my whole career. So, yeah, this is another fight, very risky fight for me. Coming in against a guy who really doesn't have a name for himself at the moment. Um, so it's definitely a risk for my position. Number one spot and also possible title fight.
Yeah, and has the promotion expressly communicated to you that this will launch you towards a title opportunity thereafter, or is it still largely predicated on the variable of that tournament winner being ready and prepared for the fight more so?
Yeah, and I think they were just kind of figuring things out as an organization. I know that they got rid of the tournament format, so I think that just mixed up everything in general. So I see that the champion of the tournament, Alves, is going to fight the old Risen champion, Inoue. So I think that fight is kind of set up for a title shot contender, and then possibly my name's thrown in the mix or whoever else they want in there. I'm not too upset with anything. I'm just trying to stay busy and stay active. 32 years old, so trying to take advantage of my time left in the sport and keep having these killer performances in my prime. I feel like I'm in my prime at the moment.
Yeah, and I was going to touch on that too. And there were some interesting moving parts with that, like Naoki Inoue. You referenced him now being the former Rizin champion and fighting Alves, and obviously, PFL tournament winner, big stakes in that fight there. And it's just kind of interesting too, because I remember the last time we were talking, you indicated a certain level of interest in maybe even fighting for that Rizin belt. And I guess even with dynamic here with Inoue and Alves, kind of underscores there's maybe that possibility piece. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe even Danny Sabatello could be that person you're fighting for the title if things don't shake out in a certain way. So it seems like an abundance of opportunity.
Yeah, for sure, man. I feel like there's a lot of doors that can open up. I just got to keep on doing what I'm doing, having spectacular finishes and spectacular wins and coming out here, just keeping this dub streak rolling. I'm on a 2-fight win streak at the moment and I plan on keep it going. But yeah, in a way, as a name, I definitely was looking forward to fighting. He's been calling me out not calling me out, he showed interest in fighting me. So, I'm here to fight them all. Some of these top guys, Danny Sabatello, if that's a name as well. I'm very interested, him being the Risen champion. I'm here to collect some belts, man, and take some names as well.
And I'm curious to get your thoughts on this because it seems like there's some discourse about maybe even like a potential PFL name change and whatnot. Like obviously in like the report stage and nothing that seems to be progressing in a particular direction. But I've even seen some people in these reports batting around the idea that maybe it would go back to being called Bellator, like just in the sense if that's amalgamated within that entity. Like, what are your thoughts on those reports that are kind of out there? I guess it would probably be largely inconsequential to you. I feel like you'd fight in any organization under any banner, but just yeah, curious to get your thoughts.
Yeah, man, I think it's cool, interesting, just to see how things are playing out. This is my first time really in this position. Even when I was going from Bellator to PFO, it was just like a whole new transition. I got to fight over in Risen in Japan in between all of that. So I thought it was cool, just opportunities popping up. But yeah, interesting. I'm kind of excited to see where things are headed. If it goes back to Bellator route, oh well, I was already a Bellator champion, so it'd be cool to go back and get that belt again, be a Bellator champion again. But yeah, man, no really thoughts on it. Honestly, I don't pay attention to that stuff too much. I'm just so focused on the gym, and now being a father, I'm more just focused on my child, my wife, and just making sure that I'm able to provide and do what I love to do, which is mixed martial arts.
No, of course, man, for sure. You love to see it in family the most important. But I guess like a piece to kind of segue off of that is like part of that Bellator championship reign you referenced. You got a win over Patricio Pitbull, a man many refer to as the Bellator GOAT in a sense. So getting a win over someone like that, big cachet. But I guess I bring that up to get your thoughts on Pitbull's looming fight with Aaron Pico at UFC 327, another prominent Bellator alumni as well.
Yeah, yeah, it's going to be an interesting fight. Pico's a beast. I know Pico is coming off of a devastating loss, so I don't know how that's going to play with his head a little bit. And Patricio's got some momentum built up behind him now with a couple good performances in the UFC. So, yeah, we'll see how things play out. I'm excited just to watch those guys go at it. They've never gone at it before, so both explosive, both killers. So, it should be a hell of a fight.
Yeah, it seems like one of those fights that, should have happened, so many times over the years and just seems academic in a sense. And I guess in terms of certain things that seem academic, I mean, Demetrious Johnson getting in the UFC Hall of Fame. And I saw you guys had a pic together circa December that popped up on your Instagram. I think it was at the show your brother Anthony was
Yeah.
promoting. I'm just curious to get your thoughts on DJ finally being inducted in the UFC Hall of
Oh
Fame. Like,
man,
yeah,
much deserved, much deserved. Demetrious Johnson is one of the goats in MMA in general, but also in the UFC. He had a hell of a reign. He barely lost that last fight against Cejudo. So, man, he deserves all of that. I'm very excited for him. I'm very happy for him, and see him getting his flowers. It's much, much necessary for him, especially after being retired and being done with the sport now. To get that love is very powerful. I'm very happy for him. Much deserved.
and I guess speaking to your journey as well, because I saw like a couple months ago at this point, you were reflecting on your MMA debut at 15 and even your, pro MMA debut September 2011 there in Canada too. That proximity piece to me, I guess, but it's just kind of interesting in the sense of what we were talking about earlier in the interview, because it's like now you're the guy who's like that established veteran name and you're fighting like the undefeated, young combatant on the come up in their own journey and stuff like that. Like, are you finding yourself in a particularly like reflective state in a sense, like looking back on like the beginning of the journey and everything like that, and then just like seeing where you're at now, where you're kind of that like established name that the surging prospect is gunning for and everything like that?
Yeah, man, it's full circle. Like now that my coach passed away too, I kind of been, stepping it up in the gym, helping my teammates get ready, and just seeing them rising throughout their career makes me think about the beginning of my career. Just like wow, it goes by so fast, man. Just like you said, I was my pro debuted at 18 years old, and here I am, 32 years old, 33 fights in, got a couple belts under my name now, and got some momentum behind my name. So yeah, man, it's been a blessing and hell of a journey. I love this journey. I'm in it for the long haul. I've always said that since the beginning. And even though I'm 32 years old, I don't see myself stopping fighting, and honestly, until I'm like probably in my 40s, honestly. So yeah, it's been cool, man, just to see everything. Watching my younger cousin AJ coming up and making a name for himself, and yeah, it's just awesome. I kind of feel like how Anthony probably felt watching me. It was just like, man, it's very, very proud, very proud.
Yeah, and I mean, rest in peace to Duke Roufus. I mean, such a massive figure in the sport. And I mean, I really love the lineage pieces of martial arts in many regards. Like, it must fill you with such an almost indescribable amount of pride, I would think, to take those lessons Duke imparted to you and give it to, that next generation and serve the younger fighters as well.
Oh, for sure. Knowledge is a waste if it isn't shared. So everything I've learned from Duke, I'm going to pass it down to the next generations, and I think that's how we're going to keep, Duke Rufus's name alive. Long live Duke Rufus and everything he's taught us, man. It's just been amazing. I'll go to other gyms and I see, the coaching, and there's some great coaching, but like just that personal relationship I had with Duke and his endless knowledge for martial arts. He was one of a kind. He was definitely one of a kind. So I'm gonna be able to be almost like the next Duke in a way, but also still focused on my career at the moment, not completely coaching at the moment. But yeah, yeah, it's been cool, man. Definitely been tough as well. Obviously Duke has been a father figure to me since I was 13 years old, 14 years old. So first fight, not having him around, it's going to be interesting. I know my emotions are going to be a little mixed up. I've been trying to wrap my head around it, but yeah, man, this one's very important for me. Go out there and show Duke that everything he taught me is still going to be around and implemented in my game plans.
No, for sure. And I think that's such a great way to kind of like serve that memory. But yeah, I mean, that would be a difficult thing to kind of like parse through and stuff like that. Just like this being, like you said, your first fight without him
Yeah,
cornering you and everything like that. But I would think that you would have certain people in your corner who can very much like, I guess, offer up a similar kind of piece,
yeah,
like
yeah,
just in
yeah,
terms
yeah.
of like the well entrenched dynamics. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Like my coach Scott Cushman, he's been around with me ever since I've been with Duke. So he's been with me since the beginning. Also, my jiu-jitsu coach Chris Wright, he's been my teammate and also my coach for a long time now, like 8 to 10 years. So I got some good guys in my corner, and then I'm also gonna have my brother Anthony. It's been a while since he's been in my corner, but we started this off together, and it just feels right to have him back, especially with Duke being gone. It's like it's just personal for both of us. I'm going to be in his corner here coming up as well. He's got a fight in June, so yeah, man, we're both playing that role, and it's cool, man. It's what a blessing to just have each other's backs, siblings.
No, man, like I have a brother and like I have a certain connection piece to the brother duos in MMA. There's just like something about it, man. And I feel like you guys are one of the more standout ones. So yeah, that's super cool. Like it's cool that he has that fight coming up and you're gonna kind of reciprocate in that regard and stuff like that. So just yeah, more chapters in both of your stories unfurling. Love to see it.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. We've keeping the journey going. Anthony's what 30, 39 years old now, and it's crazy to see him age as he's in the sport. He's been in the sport since he was like 21, 22. So yeah, man, it's awesome. What a blessing to have this journey with each other, and nothing like the brother duo. There's some great brother duos out there. The Diaz brothers, Nogueiras, the Pettises, Saporias. There's a lot out there, man. It's awesome. It's awesome to see.
No, yeah, it's cool for sure. And I mean, I guess just people who've been, with Rufus sport over the years in different ways. And I guess we're talking about Chicago. I mean, CM Punk and Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Like it
Yeah.
seems like people from that lineage are doing big things in many different spaces out there. So yeah, we love to see those pieces too.
Oh yeah, man. CM Punk, what a legend. It's awesome, man. It's cool to train with him. I mean, I look back at it, all the guys that came through Rufus Sport. It's like, man, some great, great guys, some great athletes, and they're still doing well to this day. So I'm proud of every single one of them.
And something that's cool about you guys, I felt like you all had your, collective strength kind of piece, like a solid group, but each kind of like independent in a way and authoring your own stories. So, yeah, something cool about that sort of confluence there. But I'm kind of seeing the time here, Sergio, and I do want to be mindful of your schedule. I don't want to encroach too much into, other
Man,
people
of
wanting to
course.
talk to you and everything. But yeah, I figured I'd give you the floor if maybe you had a final parting thought you felt inclined to add as we're kind of wrapping up, man.
Yeah, man. Just make sure you guys tune in. April 11th, me and Mitch McKee are going to go at it in Chicago. It's going to be a war. I know this guy's very confident and very young, so he's going to come out there and put it on me. And that's the type of fight I'm looking for. It's going to be fireworks. Make sure you guys tune in.
Yeah, and you referenced the debut. You got the big head kick, your last fight, crazy spinning back elbow, the Horiguchi finish, a huge one as well. Are we maybe thinking we get another similar finish of that persuasion, something to, bolster the highlight reel, put the first blemish on McKee's record, or just kind of get in
Yeah.
a flow state, whatever happens kind of thing?
You know what? I'm gonna go out there and whatever happens, happens. But I definitely got some intentions and some bad intentions for him. So some tricks up my sleeve as well. If he falls into it, it's gonna be an epic night.
Yeah, well, super stoked to check out this PFL Chicago card, man. And yeah, thank you so much for the time and insight, Sergio. Always great getting to chop it up with you, man. But yeah, you have a great rest of your day and looking
All right.
forward to peeping the fight when it goes down.
Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate your time. Have a good one.